Devontae Graham. But anyway, let's move on, DC, to our next contestant on the Pelican post-game report profile, player season preview or review profile is Mr. Larry Nance Jr., my friend. Larry Nance Jr. 396 games for his career. DC averages just over 8 points.
Doing up there? He ain't on the team no more.
6 points. I'm just here for the show. 6.5 on the rebounds, and of course, just under 2 assists. Now, Larry Nance played this season, DC, a mixture of where he was in Portland, and of course with the Pelicans, 46 games overall, 7 points flat, 5.4 on the rebounds, almost 2 assists. He was big in the playoffs for the Pelicans, like we said he was going to be. He fit that need, loves to be here. Larry Nance moving into the future, forward center, man. Let's talk about Larry Nance Jr.
First off, I want to say Tony Snell ain't on the team no more because he left CJ McCullough on that goddamn plane. That ended it all for him. But moving on to the guy that didn't leave CJ McCullough on the plane, Mr. Larry Nance Jr., man. And man, this guy was a blessing for us in the playoffs. He really showed what he could do. We still got to keep in mind that he was coming off an injury too, so I still think it's another level that Larry could hit. Another guy that's definitely going to get 15 to 16, maybe 18 minutes, a night, depending on how he's playing. Could be up to 20. Larry Nance looked like a fill-in starter for us, man. You wasn't missing a beat for him out there. He played every position from small forward at times to power forward to center.
Yep.
Decent interior defender, really good perimeter defender, even though, guys who were faster point guards and stuff, he had a little trouble with that at times. But I thought his defense was, pretty well advertised, and it was what I thought, keeping in mind that obviously it wasn't everything we would have wanted it to be, but he's coming off an injury. So I know it's going to be another level that goes up with that. We were mad about him shooting those threes in that game when he couldn't make them. But there were other games where he was hitting those three-pointers, man, and stretching the court as well. So a lot of levels to Mr. Larry Nance Jr., but another guy that just brings the energy along with the talent, and efficiency too. He's pretty good scorer in the mid-range and on the inside. Brother can do a little bit of everything. He just, like we always say, he's like a bigger Josh Hart. Just really what he reminds me of, man. A guy that brings a lot of intensity, great rebounder, can pass the ball pretty damn good, very aware out there. It's like not many things get by Larry Nance. He's a very intelligent basketball player. One of my favorite aspects of him, can jump off the goddamn gym. Another guy can put you on a poster. Really looking forward to seeing him being able to catch some alleys, where guys catch their chemistry and know kind of where to put the ball for him. Exciting player, man. The only downside to Larry Nance Jr. is what does this do to Jackson Hayes, whom I like. But, these guys kind of play a similar role, if we're being honest. But that ain't no fault of Larry Nance Jr. Jackson Hayes actually has to grow his game and kind of, fill in more in that center spot. But I'm sure we'll get to him a little further down the line. But Mr. Larry Nance, man, he wants to be here. As you can see right on the screen, I would love to make this a permanent stay. I'm tired of jumping from team to team, is what he said, when they asked him. And him and CJ McCullough have came right in, man, and just embraced the city. And you see how we've embraced them. They love the team. And I don't think there's any way you don't extend Larry Nance Jr. Just too much experience, too much talent, too much of a good fit. Like, it's too many things he does right. He can play alongside of Brandon Ingram or Zion or anybody else who you put on the roster, so he's just a guy you put out there, man. You're going to find a spot for him some type of way. So Larry Nance is a big positive, man. I'm so glad we got him with the CJ McCullough trade, even though if we didn't, that trade would have still been lights out. But him being a cherry on top, man, I almost feel sad for the Blazers, man. It was a highway robbery. Whatever pick we give, it ain't going to be worth shit compared to what we got.
Yeah, DC, to be honest with you, take a look at the money on the contract right here. This is according to Sport Track on the Pelicans. It shows his contract 4 years at $44.8 million, 11.2 per year average right there. And if you look at last year, the 20 and 22-23 year at 9.6 mil for Larry Nance, and then 2023 is unrestricted free agency right there. Of course, Pelicans will be wise to kind of give Larry Nance an extension when eligible to get him back into the fold. So yeah,
maybe that ties into Mr. Graham, because I mean it's funny that he was making 11.2 the year prior. Ain't that the same number Graham was making?
Yeah, close. I mean, this is the thing too, as well. Like we talk about Devontae Graham and how the Pelicans are put together. The bench is a very vital part. And then you see certain lineups, like it was intriguing lineups to see Larry Nance and Big V together. That was intriguing. Lineups you can, like you spoke of, it's the versatility that Larry Nance represent, where he can play multiple positions and play them well to help out, which would not necessarily get in the way of players' developments like a Jackson Hayes. If you're doing that, I'm gonna move over here and do this well. So Larry Nance is a veteran, a solid veteran. DC is only 29 years of age. He's looking for a multiple year contract, and you, like we just showed you the contract there, deal right there is not a bad. It's actually a pretty good number. Hopefully we can get him and get him under contract for an extension. It's a big part and vital part of the Pelicans bench, and will aid in the Pelicans run toward the playoffs even further. So anyway,
perfect.